Hi guys, it's Rachel and I'm here with a very different video from anything I have ever done before. I'm actually doing my reactions to the WWE pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. Definitely not something I typically do, but my boyfriend and I always kind of joke when we watch it that we should do live reactions because of how I react to things. So I'm just going to kind of talk through my impressions of the actual pay-per-view and kind of how I felt about the outcomes and what I'm okay with, what I'm not okay with. I was a little underwhelmed, I will be honest, by the overall Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It was okay. First and foremost, you had Roman Reigns and Jay Uso in their match in the very beginning, and I felt that when you compared it to the other matches that took place in the Cell, it was less brutal, but more emotionally taxing. I gotta tell you, when Roman broke down and was like crying, and I started getting upset, like physically upset. Like I started crying and I'm like, damn it, it's getting to me. And my boyfriend's like, are you crying? And I'm like, yes, I'm crying. It's getting to me, okay? So in all honesty, I feel like it was definitely more of a performance-based, more of an emotional taxing, especially when you're getting into a family element, where obviously Sasha Banks and Bayley and Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are not a family unit or, you know, things like that. So it's a little different. It was a very interesting match. I was like sitting there, I'm like, what if one of them passes out? Because they were being very, you know, to the point, like, you know, Roman jumped on Jay and had him in the, I believe it's a guillotine. And I'm like, Jay's going to pass out. We're going to lose Jay. I mean, you can't say I quit if he passes out. Same thing with Roman. When he started to pass out, I'm like, can't say I quit if he passes out. So it was a lot of, where is this gonna go? And then, you know, my boyfriend got kind of upset because when everyone started running in all of a sudden, he's like, I hope this isn't a cop-out like other years. And this is the first one I've watched of Hell in a Cell. So I was like, I don't know, you know, I haven't seen any others. Well, when Jimmy ran in there, I was like, okay, yeah, I know what's going to make the I quit, especially when he grabbed Jimmy. I was like, yeah, we're done. We're done. There it is. So it was an emotional match. It was an interesting match, but I don't know if it was necessary to have it inside the Cell. It is what it is. Elias versus Jeff Hardy. I'm going to be honest, I kind of half forgot the match happened by the end of the pay-per-view. There wasn't anything too spectacular about it. In all honesty, Jeff Hardy got eliminated. You know, he was disqualified because he hit Elias with the guitar, but Elias was going after him. So Elias technically would have been DQ'd. So it's like, all right, it is what it is. I kind of think that storyline is ridiculous. It makes me kind of angry because I'm just like, but whatever. You know, Elias isn't there for months and then all of a sudden shows up and smashes Jeff in the middle of a match. It is what it is. So I was sort of underwhelmed by that. Another match I was really underwhelmed by was the match between Bobby Lashley and, was it Slapjack? Slapjack. I always want to say Flapjack because that's what we call him. I'm kind of underwhelmed by Retribution because, first of all, we've broke it down to the small group. One of the females has disappeared. The other female we haven't seen do squat. She's just there. I'm like, if you're going to use a wrestler, then use her. Don't just have her standing there. I'm like, it's stupid. I also feel like I was excited when they kind of built that up with Mustafa Ali because they've not done a lot with him. And I was like, okay, so they're going to do stuff with him. But now I feel like it's almost turning into a Seth Rollins kind of thing where he is letting other people fight his battles for him. And that to me is disappointing. So you got that. Literally, when I saw him like scramble out of the ring, I was like, it reminds me of Seth Rollins. The only thing is that when Seth Rollins and his disciples and that whole thing, they were beating people, and we're not seeing that with Retribution at this time. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to figure out why they put Retribution on one night instead of having them flip between SmackDown and Raw, that they have made them just Monday Night Raw. So I'm kind of confused by that, why they made that choice. Bayley and Sasha Banks, interesting match for sure. I was convinced before the match started that Sasha was going to take the belt off Bayley, and that because my comment was, since Nikki hadn't taken it off Bayley, that they were building to Sasha doing it. So obviously she did. The thing I was most impressed with from that match, to be honest, was when the cell was lowering and all of a sudden Sasha kicked that chair and it went out. That was like my, oh yeah, yep. So I thought that was really cool when she kicked out the chair that Bayley's been carrying with her. However, I was really bothered later in the match when Bayley was able to retrieve the chair next to the cell, because when it kicked out, it was nowhere near the cell. So how somebody put it there, it was set up. So that bothered me a little bit. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. So, that was a decent match. Definitely very brutal. So then you have Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. I have very strong feelings over this butting of heads that they have had with these two. I have very strong feelings. I really, the ambulance match was like my moment of like, yes. I'm like, yes, because you had all the people come back at the last pay-per-view and the ambulance match, and it was like, this is Randy Orton getting his comeuppance. And I was so agitated because it was like, you saw a bit from both, and they are both fantastic wrestlers. They have a lot of skills. But when Randy left the cell, I was like, wait a minute. Are you allowed? Can you do that? Are you allowed to do that? So I was kind of confused with that. But like I said, this was the first one I ever saw. My boyfriend's like, yeah. They leave the cell all the time. It's fine. So I was like, oh, okay. So we're sitting there, we're watching it, and they go up over on top of the cell. And all right, they're on top of the cell. Fine. So Randy starts climbing down the one side. And in my brain, all I'm thinking is, I'm sorry, if it were me, I would be going down the other side and meeting around. Just simply because of exactly what happened. They started fighting up there and Drew went through a table. I have moments in wrestling that I'm like, common sense, people. I struggle with that a lot. Because it's like, seriously right now? You gotta be kidding me. So once they were back in the ring and you saw Drew hit him with a Claymore, you're like, okay, we've seen Drew get beat down 100 times to the point we don't think he can do anything. And then when Drew was deciding to do that second Claymore, I was like, no, don't do it. You're going to get yourself in trouble. And sure enough, Randy was able to dodge it and RKO into cover, and Drew was not able to kick out. And I freaked out. Like, I legit was like, no! I was so mad. And my only stance to that is, in the ambulance match, we saw everybody get to come back through and basically, kind of pay back Randy Orton for the crap he did, except Edge. So to me, my major thing is I would like to see Edge take the belt off of Orton. I would like to see him have a comeback. I don't know what that's going to mean for him, though, physically. I haven't seen any updates on him. I kind of was hoping the last pay-per-view we were going to see Edge in that ambulance match, but we didn't. So I feel like they have to be building to something. Maybe he'll show back up at the Royal Rumble again this year. I don't know. But we'll see. With the other match, Otis versus The Miz, I was really, once again, bothered. First of all, I was bothered that they went that route. First of all, when they did the draft and they separated him and Tucky, I'm like, why are they separating all these tag teams? There's no point. So I was really frustrated with that. And then, you know, I'm sitting there going, he's not going to lose it. It's like every match, he always kicks The Miz's butt. I mean, this is fine. It's fine. He's not going to lose the contract. And then, you know, when Tucky hit him in the head with that briefcase, it was just like, what just happened? And I was in complete and utter shock because how did that just happen? And I wanted a why. And we got a why. However, all the why is exactly the Sonya and Mandy storyline again. So if they're gonna, and now they're on different brands, so they can't even feud. So what's the point? And I'm just completely flabbergasted by the whole thing. I hate the storyline. I hate what they did, and that frustrated me. And who is The Miz gonna go after? Who? I mean, he can go for whatever title he wants. That's true with the Money in the Bank contract. However, Roman? No. Randy? No. So we have all heels. So where's a face in this? So you have all these heels, and then you've got Sami Zayn, and then you've got Bobby Lashley. So technically, every title, including the women's titles, yeah, including the women's title, is held by a heel right now. Oh, wait. Well, technically, Asuka's not a heel anymore. But, you know, there's been a very big turnover of faces to heels lately. And I'm a little agitated with that whole thing. So there's that. Anyway, there is my rant over WWE's Hell in a Cell. I'm really hoping that we see some improvement somewhere in there, because I'm really bummed out about how it's being handled right now, to be fair. All right. Have a good night, guys.